If you're anything like I was, you've got a pedal board full of mismatched patch cables that are a little spotty from gig to another. You're always hunting for one that's going bad. They don't fit. You can't squeeze enough pedals on your pedal board. That's how I was until I discovered Tour Gear Design's patch cables. They're the smallest patch cables in the game. They're rock solid, extremely dependable, and I love what they make. And now I've partnered with Tour Gear Designs to get you 10% off your order by using the affiliate code down below in the description box. You can get 10% off using code 40WATT, 40WATT, but this deal gets even better. For my Patreon supporters, you actually are eligible for 20% off. You have to register with the same email address you use on Patreon and message the company, say you're one of my Patreon supporters, and you can get 20% off your order with Tour Gear Designs, the best patch cables in the game. This podcast is made possible in part through a partnership with TrueFire. TrueFire is the most comprehensive guitar learning experience on the internet, with over 51,000 guitar lessons from the best educators in the world. It makes TrueFire the #1 most trusted music education resource for guitar players. We as guitar players sometimes get fixated on the gear that we play, and we neglect the skill level that we play. And many of us have a hard time finding instructors locally. TrueFire bridges that gap. You can find my affiliate link below to get 40% off with my code 40WATT of your first purchase through TrueFire. Learn, practice, play, TrueFire. This podcast is made possible by the support of many wonderful people over on Patreon. If you would like to support this show and help make sure it keeps going, you can go over to patreon.com/40wattpodcast, where for as little as $3 a month, you can help make sure this show keeps happening. Thank you for all of your support. 40 Waters, ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers of every ilk. Welcome to another episode of the 40 Watt Podcast. My name is Philip. I am your host here. I'm also your engineer. I am your producer, all those things. So super excited to be back. We did this week. It is the end of summer. Y'all, summer ended. As of recording this episode, summer's been over for about a week now. And here in the South, we say good riddance. I'm hoping that means we're going to have some better weather, but that also means we're in the home stretch. We're back to what I hope is going to be weekly episodes. Y'all know during the summer, my day job gets very busy. So sometimes it becomes every 2 weeks, once in a while, every 3 weeks. But we're in the home stretch. I got about 10 to 12 episodes planned for y'all going into the rest of this year. And then we're going to hit the holiday break. Going to take some time, going to regroup. Hopefully going to be back over on the Guitar Nerds podcast to tell them what the gear of the year actually is. Since sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, Joe, I'm talking about you. But yeah, so that means we're going to be getting ready for season 4 next year, but I've got a bunch of great content for you this week and the rest of this year, but this week especially. So before we get started, I'm going to mention a few things that I haven't mentioned in a few weeks, maybe in a while, y'all. There's some links down below in the description for the episode or in the video if you want to check them out. If you're watching the video, you've seen the ads at the beginning, those ones you skipped over. I know you did. So be sure to click down below. I've got affiliate codes and discount codes for Tour Gear Designs cables. Check those out. They're my favorite patch cables. Click below for Stringjoy strings, y'all. My brain is running at half power right now. Also, there's a link down below for TrueFire. You can get 40% off your first purchase at TrueFire, and that does count for their annual subscription. That's what I use. I like their lessons a whole lot. There's also a Reverb affiliate link down there, and there is a bunch of information for how you can support the podcast by going over to patreon.com/40wattpodcast. And for as little as $3 a month, you can support the show up to $50 a month if you want to meet monthly and have a lesson in something: music theory, guitar, bass, keys. I don't care. We'll talk. If you just want to chit chat for a half hour, an hour, we'll do it. But while talking about Patreon, I do have some new Patreon members I need to thank, and I want to make sure I mention everyone here. So we're going to start at the top in no particular order. Thank you, Jamie Evans, Henry Klubakowski, Brian May, but not that Brian May, Heinrich Nordvang of Nordvang Custom Pedals, Tony DeGraw, Steve Rao of 60 Cycle Hum, Andrew Bimson, Julie McFarling of Labland Photography, Abe Matthews, Jordan Galash, Duncan Watson, Andy Johns, David Evangelista of the Guitar Dads podcast, Blake Jefferson, Nick Call, Andrew Hensley, Alan Gresham, Dan Pilver of Lewitt Audio, Scott Hamilton of the Effects Loop podcast, Andy Koning, Jim Burns, Tom Kelly, Heath Batt, Ben Fair of Electromotive Sound Company, Rick Calhoun of Honey Picks, Jeffrey Walks, and Kyle Harris. Thank you for your support. You literally make this happen every week, except that I do all the work. But y'all make it financially possible, and I appreciate it. All right, y'all. We're going to move on. That was a whole lot. I just felt like I hadn't mentioned some things in a while, but now I'm going to sell you somebody else's product. So this week, I've got Halee. Halee, I don't even know what to tell people you're from because you've got so many things going on. So we're going to get into that. But I'm going to stop talking for a minute, and I want you to tell our listeners, how'd you get into guitar? How'd you get into music? And then we're going to talk about how you got into these really cool, creative things you do.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine. That was a whole like spiel. Like yeah. I feel like it's rehearsed, but I'm just making it up as I go.
No, you did a great job.
It's loud and now, it's overwhelming.
Yeah,
it's like
now
this
it's
wash
made me
of words.
now I'm like blank.
So we'll go back. So In Utero, you heard for the first time. No, I'm kidding. So what's your earliest musical memory? How do you remember it all?
Oh my gosh. I was huge into Hannah Montana. And my
really?
dad, yes, I was like, what, 8, 9 when that came out, probably.
Uh-huh.
And then my dad's always been huge into music. My dad, he used to work on car stereos, and he would like put them in and tune them and do all that stuff. But like, he doesn't play any instruments, but he's big into music. And then he did like DJing on the side. So I've always been around music. And then I would say like the whole Hannah Montana Jonas Brothers thing. I mean, I'm not a huge Jonas Brothers fan. I do like them. My sister was the big Jonas Brothers fan, but Hannah Montana was like, that was the big thing for me, for like music wise. And then, so I think, fast forward a little bit, I think by the time I was 10, 12, around there, I picked up playing guitar. And I was homeschooled, so they offered guitar lessons through my homeschool, which I kind of surpassed them really quick. So it was boring for me. So I kind of just went and taught myself for the next, gosh, I've been playing for so long, for like the next 7, 8 years. And then I've done like, I've been in multiple bands. There was a band program, I think when I hit about 16, I started doing, and it's our local school of rock. And I did that for 5, 6 years. And then I helped the band teacher like run his Facebook and stuff like that. This is way before my business now. So I helped him like do social media and stuff like that for his school of rock. And then I was in it for 6, 7 years, I want to say. And then I've been in bands on and off. And then, let's see, I think at about, 19, I got like proper guitar lessons. And my guitar teacher is actually in Nashville. He actually used to be Taylor Swift's guitar player. And one day on Twitter, he like announced that he was like offering lessons. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to hit him up because I'm serious. Like, I wanted to learn. It wasn't like because of Taylor Swift. It was like, no, I want to learn. I want to progress. And why not from him? Because I wanted to be a touring guitar player. That's what I wanted to do. So I was like, oh, like, I'm going to hit him up because he offered it on Twitter. So I messaged him. I had to fill out this application. My mom's like, she's crazy. And we had one guitar lesson, and honestly, we've been friends ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. Can you say who it is?
Yeah, his name's Grant Michelson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Because I know a different person who at one point was played guitar for Taylor Swift, Brian Nutter, if you know Brian.
I do not know Brian.
Nashville based.
But
okay.
Yeah.
So I wondered if it was Brian, because Brian's a great dude. Now,
yeah.
He's also a killer player in Nashville, so it's a thing. Like there's a whole vibe.
Mm-hmm. All the Nashville guys are cool, but yeah.
Yeah, they really are. Like they're all super nice. Like there's there is ego. Don't get me wrong. We're not going to
Yeah,
pretend there's no ego,
yeah.
but like they're really good at checking it. Like they know how good they are, but
Mhm,
they just don't care, and I
mhm.
love that.
Yeah. Grant's
All right,
super
so you
cool.
get formal lessons.
Yeah, I get formal lessons, and I think I took them from Grant for like 3 years. I can't remember. You're having me really think about all this. I'm 26 now, so if I started when I was like 10, it's been 15,
16
16
years.
years. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
long time.
that is a very long time.
Yeah.
I have to do the same thing because I started much later than you. I started guitar when I was 18. I
Mhm.
didn't start playing until I was a senior in high school,
Yeah.
uh, which means that I did start before you, but not that much longer before you did when
Yeah.
you were, you know, 9 or
Like,
10.
well,
So,
yeah. And like I said, it wasn't really until it started getting more serious till I was like 18, 19, around there. Because like I said, I wanted to become a touring guitar player. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to move to Nashville. And then 2020 and all that kind of shot that in the foot and kind of just messed up the
yeah.
whole music industry. But yeah, so, and then as of, let's see, so yeah, I had lessons with him, and yeah, I don't know where I kind of got to a blank spot.
No, you're fine. So at some point, the whole you didn't move to Nashville and you're still playing in bands. You're not necessarily like big time, full time touring,
Mm-hmm.
but you're playing. At what point did you decide? Because you're obviously anyone who follows you on social media, which I'm sure a lot of listeners to this podcast already do, follow your endeavors. You're a very creative individual. At what point did you decide? Okay, I'm not touring in a band like full time, but I have these other ideas. I'm going to create, like with Rockit Music, you've got the
Mm-hmm.
straps and
Yeah.
the absolutely freaking adorable little pick holders that you make, and just that you've got all these little creative endeavors. At what point did you decide I'm going to start this, or did the Girl Smash Guitars come before that?
No, Rockit Music Gear. I guess I could tell the story of that. So
Yeah,
actually, it was me talking to my guitar teacher because, like I said, me and Grant became friends pretty much. So we were talking one day and we're like, hey, like it'd be really cool if there was like a guitar strap that could be any color you wanted it, and you just like change it with a button. So I was like, I could do that. So like I don't remember how long it took, but I made a light up guitar strap that like the first one. So the light up guitar strap came seven. Well, what? How many years before Rockit Music Gear? I should have wrote down these timelines, but
no,
it
you're
came
fine.
it came way before Rockit Music Gear, and I was just making light up straps. And
Sure.
unfortunately, they had to be like $200 because they weren't quite the thing to make. But I made one for me, and then I made one for him, and I need to find the picture of me and him wearing these things because I have braces, and it's very funny. I just look like this little kid with this giant bright strap, and then he has it over in Nashville wearing it. It's super funny on Skype. And so I made that prior, and then a few people started asking me for them, and I was like, I don't really want to make them. They're expensive. Like, if you want to pay it, I mean, I
Right.
guess, but they're expensive. And they're like, oh no, I'll pay for it. I got a few people that just basically insisted, like, I'll pay for it. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. So it wasn't until Rockit Music Gear is going to be 6 years old this year. So wasn't till about let's see, that was 2017. I made the light up strap,
Yeah.
or no, it was before that.
Well,
Man, I
yeah,
don't.
before that, if yeah,
Yeah,
if you did that before Rocket Music, which
yeah.
listeners, for those of you keeping tally, that
Mhm.
means you officially started Rocket Music when you were 20,
Yes, but I
like
feel like
2021.
no, because okay, so it was farther than that. Then I must have been taking lessons from Grant when I was like 16,
Oh wow.
because 2019 I do no, not 2019. I was 19 years old when I started Rockit Music Gear.
Okay.
So I can definitely remember that timeline. But yeah, I was 19 years old when I started Rockit Music Gear, and I'm 26 now. So, but it started in December, so it's a weird way to count the years because it started at the end of the year.
As someone who was born in December, I can tell you that it's a very strange way to count the years.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I want to say I was 15 or 16 or 17 taking lessons with Grant. So it had to have been 3 or 4 years prior I made this light up strap. But,
so you're a teenager and you make this LED light up strap that changes colors at the push of a button. That's pretty wild. I won't tell you what I was doing when I was that age. It was definitely not anything like that. I was probably doing something stupid, first of all, you know, that because that just goes without saying. I definitely wasn't being that ingenuitive. Is that? I feel like I made that word up, but that's fine. So you make these straps and you start Rockit Music. Rockit Music, you said it a second ago, the third word. I keep wanting to say group for some reason. It's not Rockit Music Group. Yeah. So, and I was actually over on your website earlier today, and I still have it up for those YouTube viewers that just saw the light change on my face. I still have it up because it's very cool. And so eventually you did tailor it down, and it's not just $200 light changing, color changing straps.
Yeah. They're actually like 120, 150 now. I've gotten the cost down on it, even though I'm sure people are still falling out of their chairs right now. Like, that's not cheap. But it's like a specific niche of, like, who wants it and who will use it. Like, I got some on the Casey Musgraves tour, which makes perfect sense. We always said that it was always
so rad.
Like a bigger tour person's type of guitar strap.
Yeah, because it's very much about showmanship. It's like if you just need a strap to hold your guitar, then please just go buy the $15 or whatever strap at your local store. But if you need to make a statement, if you're on stage and you need to express your personality, not just in the music you make, but in the way you look, these straps are super, super rad. I bought one a while back, but had it shipped somewhere else as a birthday present for somebody because I thought they were super cool and been following you sort of ever since then.
Oh, wow.
And so how busy does Rockit Music keep you on a typical basis? Are you doing this full time, or is this still a part-time gig? Or
I do this full time because I'm crazy.
I think anyone who starts a music gear company is a lunatic, so it's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, no, people ask me, like, what do you do? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, no, please. I was going to interrupt you, and I'm really good at that because, listeners, just a reminder, we do this over the internet, and occasionally Lag hops in, and we'll have a little moment where we talk over each other. I had someone get mad at me on an episode recently because I talked over someone. I'm like,
oh, man.
Do you know how the internet works?
Well, also, I think we both agreed earlier that we have ADHD, so.
Oh yeah, and so this is going to be chaotic, and that's okay. That's fair. But it's fun. So you make these straps. Now you're making a lot more than just light up straps. That was the thing that I had fallen behind on your offerings. You're doing things like where did it go? The chrome guitar straps, which look super cool. Guitar cables you're doing now.
I actually sorry.
No, that was me going too long. Go ahead.
No. But anyway, actually, whenever I started Rockit Music Gear, I didn't even come back out with the light guitar strap. I learned how to sew because I was like, how hard is it to sew a straight line? So I decided to learn to sew, and I was sewing flip sequin guitar straps. So I didn't even have my light up guitar strap up right away. It wasn't until about a year prior I finally redesigned it and I brought it back. I'm on version 5 now, so yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. They really are. Like, I am also the first to tell you it's a little overly showy for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I play blues shows and like jazz shows. I just could imagine a band leader if I showed up with these like the LED straps. But I think they're so awesome. Even it's one of those weird things where, hey, guitarist, something can be not for you and still be awesome. Just a reminder. but now you're also doing, you've expanded, and at some point you started 3D printing.
Yes.
I got to talk about these because I think they're so freaking rad.
So I'm trying to figure out if I want to what I want to say, because um, there's secrets of how I make things.
Oh.
The only reason there's secrets.
Oh yeah, don't.
The only reason
don't give away your secrets.
Yeah, the only reason there's secrets though is because I've spent a lot of time on some of this stuff. And I get annoyed when like people are like, well, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And I'm like, I've spent a lot of time on it. And I've already had big companies rip me off, so I really try.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know if I can talk about that either.
No, it's fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure if our listeners are intrepid enough, they can go out and search on their own and figure out exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think these are so rad. And you would think that like the Mohawk skull would be like my favorite, but no. So I'm just looking at what's on the website. Y'all, please, the link for Rockit Music Gear is down below. Please make sure you go click on it so you know what we're talking about. The skull is awesome, but come on, the Rocktopus, come on. It's so good. It's so good. And also being a big dinosaur lover, the Stegosaurus is great. I don't
even think that website needs to be updated because there's some like old stuff on there. It sounds like I've been going through listings.
Oh, there is.
Non-stop.
No, it's
it's
stuff that says it's sold out and like 15 pages of 3D prints on here.
Oh, I need to go through and re-update that. If you go to SD though, there's like much more newer stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
I got like cows on there now. But actually, when I started 3D printing a couple years ago, and actually I held back from doing it because it was so expensive. Also, you couldn't get the filament in the state of California for some weird reason of cancer-causing materials, because everything causes cancer here. And
right.
Everything was so expensive, and everyone's like, "Oh, you should do it." And I was like, I don't know, because like the printer was super expensive, and everything was just expensive about it, so I just didn't get into it. Then finally, it became relatively more cheaper, and I was like, all right, I'll get into it. And then all of a sudden, last Christmas season, I have 18 printers. I'm printing over 1,000 skulls, and I'm working every single day of December.
Wow.
And Josh, my boyfriend, was helping me pack everything. Poor guy.
That's a heavy workload. That was going to be a question I asked is just how much of this do you ship out on a regular basis? Apparently a whole lot.
It's something about Christmas. I don't know. It's like it's always like I have something I've never seen. It's just crazy.
Just retail at Christmas time is insane, and that doesn't change when it's online. It's just madness.
No. Yeah.
There's much newer stuff over on the Etsy page. Y'all listeners, I'm gonna have these linked below. Y'all gotta go check these out because I think they're super cool. There are so much more than I was originally seeing on the website, and now I'm sad I didn't pre-look at all of this, so I'd have more to talk about because I'm gonna make myself not look at it all right now because I just want to see all the things, and there's multiple pages. So you get into making guitar straps. Now you're making cables. You're making 3D printed pick holders, which are adorable and menacing at the same time, and it's great. Then you've got this whole other side project around girl smash guitars.
Yeah.
And so I really became aware of this during the Phoebe Bridgers debacle. And by debacle, I don't mean Phoebe Bridgers smashing a guitar. I mean other people reacting to it like idiots.
Yeah.
Like I won't go down that rabbit hole. But it was about that time. In fact, I think you posted something about it, and that's when I discovered the Girls Smash Guitars. So explain what that is, where that came out of, what's going on there.
So, I'll back it far up as I can. Do you know JHS, the JHS show, Josh's assistant, Nick? So
I met Nick a few weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, Nick's really cool. He made this video about the impact that the Phoebe Bridgers thing had on his daughter, and about it's like a whole spoof.
Oh.
I'll have to send you the video, and like,
Yeah.
basically saying like, oh, it's bad, it's wrong, but like, it's really funny. And he's the one who came up with the name Girls Smash Guitars, actually. And I watched the video and I thought it was funny, and I was like, could I make a guitar strap with that name on it? So I reached out to him and I said, is there any way I could, and if I could use it, if you're cool with it. And he's like, oh yeah, totally, you can use it. And he was fine with it. And then he actually designed the guitar strap. He like scribbled it up. And then I have the drawing somewhere as well. We took that and we sent it to do you know Karen from Big Ear Pedals?
I do. I love Grant and Karen. Both.
Yeah. And so we sent it off to Karen because Karen was helping me with the project. And she digitalized it, and it's actually, I still have like a few left, but it turned into that strap back over there. So it was quite the little process with that. And then I didn't even know I was going to do a music video. We were going to do a song, and then all of a sudden we're doing a music video, and then all of a sudden I know everyone complains about it, way too many guitar players, but it's a music video. You can have as many guitar players as you want. It don't matter.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I almost had 2 bass players.
Let's go. Literally, these rules are arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like, you can do whatever you want. I think I was listening to an interview. I was listening to Corey Wong's most recent episode today with Wolfgang Van Halen.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
admittedly, I'm not the biggest Van Halen fan. I like the first 2 records a lot. I've listened to them several times each. I don't know, maybe a dozen total over the course of my life. But I've never really known anything about Wolfgang. It's a really great interview. Y'all should go listen to it. But he was talking, Van Halen was very much, basically a trio with a singer, and then sometimes there was a keys player, especially during the David Lee Roth era. But Wolfgang's on tour with 3 guitar players playing with Mammoth, and he's like, and his answer when somebody asked him, "Why do you have 3 guitar players?" and he said, "Well, because I couldn't have 4." It's like there's no rules. You can do what you want.
Exactly. Well, like in a music video. Also, I wanted to give the girls like an experience recording. I don't care that there's layers and layers of guitars on that track. I don't care. Each one of those girls have never recorded in their life, and they all got to have the experience of recording and playing to the track, and they had an amazing time. So, I mean, it was worth it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun, and I love that it exists, and it's built out of this really silly moment. But it just shows, and I really like to see that like there's that educational aspect of it. And actually, I didn't know that each of those girls actually recorded parts in the song, because I've not done the proper deep diving that an actual professional podcaster would have done.
That's okay.
This is not an excuse, y'all. This is me just telling you my flaws. But it is a lot of fun, and I love that because it's this educational aspect. This is why, for example, not to sell it again, it's why I reached out to TrueFire for a link for my shows. Like, I'm a big believer in education and teaching and passing down what we do and giving opportunities. And when you were talking about you did School of Rock, I love what School of Rock has done, changing the model, not just, hey, kid, I'm going to sit down with you for a half hour to an hour a week, and it's just going to be you and me playing guitar, and then I'm going to send you home to figure out on your own trying to play with other people. Yeah. Instead, let's get a bunch of musicians in a room and teach them how to play as a band and play together and learn together.
Well, and actually, all those girls that were in the music video were in the School of Rock too, just after I've been out of it because I was older. Sure. Not that I still couldn't be in it. It was just, I was just older, so I didn't do it anymore. But they were in it. And so, like, I thought, and also our School of Rock, it's like it's not an official School of Rock. It's just our
Okay.
local Modesto School of Rock, basically. But
Oh, yeah, we had a
yeah,
local one where I used to
yeah,
live as well. That it was its own thing, but the concept is similar.
exactly. So oh, where was I going? But yeah, but they've never gotten to do like that, do something like that. So I thought that would be a lot of fun for them. And even though I knew I could have sat and tracked every single one of the guitars on it, I thought, why not have these girls come in and do it, learn, and it was just a whole experience for them. And then our state theater, our local theater, was kind enough to let us play the music video there and invite our friends and family to watch it, which I thought was like the icing on the cake. I felt pretty cool.
That's so right.
I just
Yeah,
asked.
no,
It was crazy, like that they let me do it. I still am like shocked, and they're like, "How'd you do that?" And honestly, I just asked nicely. That was it. I mean, it's pretty cool. I feel pretty cool, like I did something, but no, I just asked nicely, and it was really awesome. It was like the icing on the cake for it.
it's amazing the power of just asking.
Yeah,
Just asking people to let you do things.
yeah.
Again, these rules are arbitrary, y'all.
Mhm.
They're made up. I've had a couple of guests where, especially in my first year of the podcast, right? I'm still a nobody, but I was really a nobody then, right?
Right.
And so, um, I had somebody ask me about one of my guests, like, "How did you get them on the podcast?" I was like, "I
I
asked them."
asked. I asked.
Yeah, I asked, and they said yes. It was really that simple.
Yeah.
And so you debuted it at a theater, local theater, with family and friends coming in to check it out. That's really, I love that kind of community support around building musicians.
Yeah, that was so nice of them to do that. I hope they'll let me do it again. If
Yeah,
it all goes
I
down.
absolutely think they will. So are you still pretty active in the scene there, in either with the school or with education and working with these up and coming musicians? It's wild because you're not that old. Like, you're 26.
Yeah,
I'm
but most
I'm
people
speaking to
think
you
I'm
as a
about.
42-year-old.
Most people think I'm like 12,
Well,
which is
it's
fine.
fair.
It's fine though.
Yeah, it's fine. I got carded for alcohol the other day, and I was like, "Oh, bless you, bless you so much." But so you've got Rockit Gear, you've got the Girl Smash Guitars video, which was super fun. Which honestly, there's like a whole thing that can grow out from there, and I know you're doing that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Are you still writing? Are you still performing? Do you have any time to do that kind of stuff?
So also, I'll answer your question that you were saying before. If I do anything else locally with the music scene around here,
Oh yeah,
is
yeah.
is okay. So like last year, I was like running gigs for everyone for these kids. I would basically make like a lineup of bands here of the kids that I know, and then it just give them more opportunities. And then I would run it, and me and my dad would run sound, and then Josh came into the picture, and he was helping set up and tear down for these. Bless his heart, because like that's a lot of work. And anyway, so me and my dad would run sound and do all that fun stuff. Sometimes I'd play, sometimes I wouldn't. I haven't done a show, unfortunately, this year, really, just because I've been busy with
Okay.
my work. I haven't done much music, like playing or anything, unless if somebody insists I take a guitar when I see some of the local bands here. Like, there's a local band here called Triple D, and Doug Robinette's a big friend of mine. And he's been letting me play guitar with him all the time. Now he just lets me take his guitar because everyone goes up to him and is like, "Is Halee gonna play? Is Halee gonna play? Is Halee gonna play?" And so like finally now I just get the guitar whenever I'm at his gigs and I get to play. So that's kind of been what I've been doing mostly this year. I want to play more, but I've just been busy with my work stuff and balancing it all out. And nothing against music around here is with my I make more money with my business, so I have to do what makes me money for now. Not that it's about money. I don't want to sound like that, but I have to
No. But it is about making a
yeah,
living, and you have to make a living.
exactly. So, but yeah, then also the School of Rock here, I donate guitar straps to them all the time. Usually every
Oh,
year
that's awesome.
they'll get like new guitar straps, and then they can do whatever they need them. If the kid needs them, or the guitars that are there need them, whatever. So I usually do that sort of thing. The owner of that has known me forever since I was a little kid. So, and then that's the one I was telling you I helped with his Facebook and stuff, social media back then.
Oh yeah.
But and then what was the question you just asked me? Now I was trying to remember to come back to that.
Oh no, you got them both. Whether you were playing music right now and if you still worked with the School of Rock, you answered both in one answer. That was
nice.
brilliantly handled. So I don't know. It's an interesting thing what you're doing, because you're obviously you want to play more. I want to play more. I think all of us musicians are in that. I want to play more, but I feel like venues haven't quite bounced back from COVID. Like some just didn't come back at all.
Oh yeah,
and some chose not to do music anymore, live music. So there's just fewer opportunities now. So I'm curious, what's the plan growing Rockit Music Gear, maybe the Girls Smash Guitars brand? What's 2024 going to look like for you? Because I know what 2023 is going to look like. It's going to look like you trying to keep up with all the orders during Christmas time. Because you're about to get super busy for 3 straight months.
Oh yeah. Depending on how well Christmas goes.
Okay.
I might try to wing a NAMM booth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I booked my flights today for NAMM. I just booked them today.
Yeah,
and,
if not,
super excited. I've never been to California NAMM.
Oh wow.
Yeah. In fact, I haven't been to California since 2004.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry
yeah,
that I'm not. I don't know. You might have to cut this out, but like California and like NAMM everywhere, it just smells like weed. Just FYI, I'm not like against weed, but like it's free everywhere around NAMM.
Yeah. I flew into Denver a couple of years ago, and it was after they'd legalized it in Colorado, and I flew in and I get an Uber from the airport to downtown where my hotel is, and I'm there for a conference. And I swear they have put every single grow house and dispensary on the road from the airport to downtown.
Oh my gosh.
And so even inside the car, it's just overwhelming. Yeah, it was a lot. And opinions on the legalization of it or not, y'all, just telling you we should totally have legalized it years ago. That's just the way it is. Whether you're into it or not, whether it's your thing or not. The smell is atrocious.
Yeah.
Listeners, don't y'all come at me. It's atrocious. Yeah, so I'm ready for that. I can handle that. Yeah. My thing is, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I've never been like a massive crowds person anyway, but ever since COVID, I've had a little bit of anxiety about large groups. It's not about getting sick. I don't worry about that. I unfortunately had COVID earlier this year. But that's not my worry. It's just something about lots of people in a tightly packed space makes me nervous. So I'm a little anxious about that.
No, I feel that because like right when finally everything was lifting, I got to do the Casey Musgraves thing. But I'll come back to that story because that actually gets
because that's a good one.
So ask me that like somewhere down the line so I can go back to that because it's long. I don't want to get off topic because you were asking what 2024 looked like. So I'm trying to keep a mental track. But I don't know if I'm allowed to say this either, but Ryan said that Guitar House might happen. So I'm really excited for that.
It's getting hinted at. I do a live stream with Steve every 3 or 4 weeks, and we talked about that last time. So that'll be interesting if that happens again.
Yeah, so I know I'll definitely be there if that happens. What else? I really hope to do another Girls Smash Guitars. It really just depends on, money. Or maybe if someone would help sponsor it, but I'm like, I know I'm cool on the internet, but I'm not that cool. I haven't gotten to the sponsorship stage yet, but
me either. For what it's worth, I'm definitely not cool on the internet or off the internet. So, But you know, I feel like it's the kind of thing a brand would want to latch onto and offer some support somehow, no matter who that is. I know that there are several brands that listen to this podcast because I talk to them, and not just the ones who sponsor this podcast. So if you were looking for something good to put some money into, I can shoot a message over to Halee for you. If you don't want to message directly, you should just message directly. Halee does not need me as an intermediary, but that's the kind of thing I want people to support. Like if I want a company to do something, like, don't get me wrong, the current like there's the whole thing about representation in music, and we need more women and more people of color and all that. I don't want to downplay that. And there's been this Fender saying they're going to highlight more women in music, and they put out one signature guitar for a female artist and they feel like they've done something good. And Gibson says the same thing, and they put out a couple and they feel like they've done something good. I'm like, I need one of you brands to like look at something like this that really gives people opportunities in music to do something they wouldn't have gotten to do. And this is the kind of thing I'd like to see companies pouring in some support for.
Yeah, that would be really
Sorry.
nice. No, that'd be
That's
really
my
nice.
rant. Yeah, it would. So anyway, hopefully that'll happen because I'd like to see more content. I feel like Girl Smash Guitars is such a great. I'm going to do super marketing here. I think it's such a great like brand to rally around as supporting women in music.
I feel like it's got a lot of potential. That's why I don't want to let it go or let the project be done with. The only thing I thought of doing, I don't know if I'll be able to do it before the end of this year. Maybe I'll try. I've had another mashup idea since like the last Girls Smash Guitars I did, and I almost thought, I mean, the girls wouldn't be able to record on it anyway because most of them are in college now, and then some of them are obviously in high school. So I kind of thought of just doing the track and doing everything, and then getting it ready for the next music video if it happens to come true. But at least there would be another track to put on Spotify. So,
yeah.
And it's an idea that I've had in my head forever. So I might try to do it and finish it before the end of this year. So maybe we'll get a song on Spotify.
You're going to try to do that before the end of this year with the holiday selling season?
Yeah.
Oh, you're never going to sleep.
No. Thankfully, though,
so,
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. Okay, I'll go. But I've gotten some updated printers. So, like, the printers I had last year, I was basically, like, tearing them apart, putting them back together constantly. So, it was like working on little engines all the time. And so, I'm upgrading to another printer. Like, I can see it all on my phone, which is quite epic. I sent a print. I called my dad. I was out of town, and I said, hey, can you clear off the stuff on the printer and clean the bed? I'm going to send something off in it. He's like, yeah, sure. So my dad cleaned off the bed, put it back into the printer, and I sent something off from where we were at, and it worked. So I'm hoping
that's awesome.
So I'm hoping this year, because I have like an upgraded printer. Well, I'm gonna have upgraded printers. I'm not gonna have to be slave working so bad. Like the fail rate on the other printers I had were horrendous. So it was like 1 in every 3. So it was annoying. And I upgraded parts on it, did everything, and it was just a fighting battle. This one, my new printer, I can print like 9 skulls in a night. So hopefully.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's really fast. So I work in public libraries, as most of the regular listeners know, and there's a whole movement. There has been for like the last, I don't know, 7-8 years, like this makerspace movement, and so libraries are constantly trying to have good 3D printers. And like you, I've repaired a few 3D printers over the years, more than I want to talk about, but that's really fast printing.
Yeah, so like I said, hopefully I won't be such a slave to my work. It'll just be packing that I'll be a slave to, which is fine.
Sure.
But at least I won't be fixing like I was and tearing them apart, putting them back together. That's so fun. So fun.
I can smell the sarcasm from here. So and like you said, we're gonna come back to this Casey Musgraves, because I love Casey Musgraves. I love her music. But so how did that connection happen? Let's tell that story.
So she found my guitar straps on SD, or I say SD wrong, by the way. I'm just gonna forewarn you. I get corrected all the time, but it's permanently damaged. It's just how I'm gonna say it. That's it.
That I just once again I remind everyone, just like the rules, all words are made up. Mm-hmm. Do what you want.
Especially bass and bass on paper. That sucks.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I was at a conference last week, and there was a keynote speaker, and he's a bass player in a punk band, but like he's a librarian by day and an author and a comedian, and he was a keynote speaker, and the person introducing him said, and he plays bass guitar in a punk band. I was like, oh no. Anyway, I digress. So yes, she discovered you on Etsy or Etsy, however you prefer to say it.
Mm-hmm. And why did I get lost? Oh my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, she bought some stuff. I didn't know what she bought actually. I figured it out now, okay. But I did not know it wasn't like it wasn't obvious. It wasn't until months later her tour was already going, and a friend of mine who is actually playing for Kane Brown, his name is Dane, and Dane is at Bridgestone Arena, and I get a text message from him with a video, and it says, "Is this your guitar strap?" And it was a light up one, so like he knew it was mine. And I was like, right. Yes. And I was like, you know what's crazy? I go, I just redesigned that. Like I think it was only it's only been out for like a week or something. Like that version was only out for like a week. So, wow. So it was on her. It was on one of her guitar players, and so I found the tour manager and the guitar tech. Because I think they see me post about it because of I don't know, there was just this whole chain reaction of how it happened. So then I'm talking to the guitar tech, and he's asking me all these technical questions about this guitar strap, which I thought was like epic. And then the tour manager, he was super kind. So I'm talking to both of these guys who are like huge people in the music industry. And basically they said, we're coming to Oakland, and I said, that's near me. And they're like, if you come out, we'll take care of it. And I was like, you got it. So
that's awesome.
So I said, what do you want me to bring? And they're like, everything. So they tell me to bring out like more light up straps and stuff like that. And I said, I'll bring them. I go, but there's not a catch, but I have a request. I go, can you get me in through the back? Because these light-up straps have like a zillion wires on. Not a zillion wires, but it's enough to look suspicious. And they're battery packs with lights, and I know they're cracking down on that. And I didn't want to look like I was smuggling a bomb into an arena. So I was like, can you get me in through the back, please? And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll get you in through the back. So they're like, no problem, don't worry about it. So I was like, okay. So me and my parents take the drive up to Oakland, because no offense, Oakland is scary. And we get there, and we basically, like, we're told, like, hey, go to this person, and all of a sudden, they're walkie-talkieing my name down the line, and they're like, hey, Halee's here, let her in, move the cones, and I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? They're like saying, oh, she's here, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean she's here? Like, I'm not that big of a deal, but like I felt like big of a deal at that moment in a weird way. It was crazy. It was like you're acting like some other celebrity just showed up. And so they kept walkie-talkie my name. Now they're moving cones, and all of a sudden I am back behind the arena, and we got to park next to the tour buses. So then the tour manager came out and came and got me and my parents, and I have this big bucket we went through a security, but it was way less of a big deal versus if I would have went in the public security. So then all of a sudden,
Right.
the tour manager is walking me. I got to walk the stage and basically take a whole lap of everything and see everyone. I didn't get to meet the guitar tech yet, but we're still friends. He sends me like guitar stuff, or like if he's sitting there and like Casey Musgrave was playing in like Spade, and he sent me a picture of my guitar straps side stage, and then Casey on stage with it. So I'll get messages from him every so often, or we'll just nerd out over guitar stuff.
That is super cool. And it's so wild that this thing you built because your guitar teacher said, just probably as almost a throwaway comment, how cool would it be if you had a guitar strap that would just change color with the push of a button?
Exactly.
That's pretty incredible. So besides Casey, are there any other like major players you know of that are using your guitar straps out there?
Daniel Donato's one of them. Who else?
What a monster player.
And then I said Dane from Kane Brown. He uses I just found out Tessa Violet is using my guitar straps. I hope she doesn't listen to this podcast, but I did not know who she was. My cousin texts me and goes, sends me a picture and goes, "Is this your guitar strap?" And I go, "I don't know. Give me a minute," because there's been a lot of like duplicates of my guitar straps coming out lately. And like the angle of it, I wasn't quite sure, so I was like, "Give me a minute." I did get lucky though, and which this doesn't normally happen. Celebrities never do it under their names. I found the strap I thought, and I found it under her name. So I was like, "Okay, it is. It's 100% her." So I got lucky, and I found it, which doesn't normally happen because usually someone else buys it, and then I find out later on, and then I'm trying to figure out how it happened.
Right. And I love hearing these stories too about like established celebrities or established musicians that can probably ask a company to just send them something and they'll get it, buying it and like actually paying money for it and supporting smaller businesses and not just asking for it, and then not even like doing it under their name. They're like, no, I don't need, don't need to know that.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much when an artist buys it. Not that I don't mind the whole giving a strap or two, but I kind of I need to set up a proper system for it. Something needs to get changed about it. I've been really thinking about it. Like, I don't mind a few, but after so many, something, it can't keep being free type thing. So I haven't really sponsored anyone in a while, but depending on what they're doing, or if they tell me, "Hey, I have this project," and whatever, I work out something. It's just kind of a case-to-case thing right now. And either way, I mean, whoever wears it, and if they send me a photo, I'm going to post it regardless. So.
Right. And then that's how, honestly, that's how I discovered it, just because they're so unique and they're so cool, and it's created this whole experience for you. And it's it's, I've said like 4 times. It's complicated because I look back, I'm like, especially at your age, which I don't want to harp on because you can do this. Anybody can do this at any age. I've had Silas Caldwell on this podcast who opened a music store in Nashville at 15. You know what I mean? So you can do this at any age, but I'm looking at like when I was that age. By the time I was 26, I had already flunked out of college once at 26 and was like nowhere in my life. And I love hearing stories of sort of finding your groove, finding a niche, carving it out, and building something, just something cool. And that's why I like talking to people who build the gear, because it's less about the gear and more to me about that experience you're creating and carving a place for yourself. But I had another question, but ADHD struck my brain and it completely flew out the other end. But listeners, as we get here to the end of the main episode, we're going to go over to Patreon and we're going to ask the question I've been asking all of the regular guests on the Patreon. Nothing terrible, but y'all want to hear this. The Patreon episodes have been really, really fun lately. We're where we talk a little more music and a little less gear. So we're gonna go talk to Halee over there. But in the meantime, there are, if I've done my job, a ton of links in the description of this video. You're gonna get links for Rockit Music Gear. That's going to be website, should be Instagram as well. Go search them out on your own. They're super cool. I'm going to link the Girl Smash Guitars video. If I can find it, I'll link that video from JHS that made gave you the inspiration. And there's going to be a bunch of social media links down there below. Anything I'm missing, Halee? Anywhere? Oh, and I'll link the Spotify for Girl Smash Guitars as well.
Oh, I guess I'll send you the link that we made it into Guitar World. That's still something that I think is trippy. We made it into Guitar World.
Yeah, we didn't even cover that. I'd actually forgotten that. I do remember seeing it when you shared it originally. Mm-hmm. That's such a wild experience too. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that over on Patreon. But in the meantime, you got anything else? Anywhere else people can find you? Projects you going on? You want to shout out before we go over there?
I mean, I have my own Instagram as well, but I mean, any of those work. TikTok, I got TikTok, but honestly, it's not so much guitar related. It's more like people throw me ideas of like, hey, make this, and I'll be like, sure, I'll make that, and I'll respond back.
Oh, that's awesome. And yeah, you do have the personal. I won't link the personal one. Mm-hmm. People can find that on their own. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure you and I have had the same conversation across multiple Instagram accounts. We just pick up wherever we were.
Oh yeah.
That's a classic ADHD trait, I think.
I'm so sorry, but if you message any of them, I swear it'll be me.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go over to Patreon and we're going to talk a little more. Listeners, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to click follow, click subscribe, click bell icons, click all the things on your screen at once. Just put your palm on your phone and just click everything. But while you're doing it, take a moment, go over to, if you're listening on Spotify or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review for the podcast. That would be great. It helps other people find it. Please be kind. Remember that we're all humans, and I'm doing my best. So I love doing this. I love talking to people like Halee, and we're going to go over to Patreon. So y'all take it easy. Be good to yourselves. Be kind to each other, and make some noise.